Welcome back to Tokyo on Fire. Yamamoto Ichita, a three-term member of the upper house of the parliament, is making waves these days. He's a very popular member. He's very into high-tech communications and that sort of thing for the Liberal Democratic Party. Michael, you know Ichita Sensei, and you've had dealings with him as well. He's a fluent English speaker. He went to Georgetown University. In fact, he was a classmate of mine. But he's starting to make pronouncements now about the foreign press saying things that perhaps they shouldn't be saying.
Well, it's not that he shouldn't be saying, it's that it's going to be received badly. He has this YouTube channel that he has put together, of course, as a personal promotion vehicle within the party, but also he has sold it to the LDP as an idea about how we can get our message out.
Oh, I think it's a great idea. I've watched it. It is entitled CafeSta, and he usually promotes members of the parliament, something like Tokyo on Fire, where it's a one-on-one, and they talk about political. They talk about a lot of different things.
And he can get really top-level people. He had Prime Minister Abe on the other day.
He had Amari on a couple of months ago.
He had Suga-san on. I mean, he gets the people
Yes, he does.
into the booth with him. It'd be nice to have him bring some folks along with us and talk with us here.
I think that's an excellent idea.
I think that would be great if we could get him to do so. But the issue that he's raised is insufficiently balanced writing about Japan by foreign correspondents. So that he's taken on as a personal crusade of sorts, a response to articles that appear in, I believe, French, English, and German.
I don't think it's a personal crusade. I mean, he is rather close to the Prime Minister. They share the same political faction. I think he's in that sweet spot where probably somebody said, look, you need to be looking at this. I mean, the national secrecy law is coming up, and we want our brand of Japan to be proliferated a little bit nicer than these Germans or these French or these
Americans or these damn
are
Brits.
writing about.
Right,
Yes.
That's true. But it's already the relationship between the administration and the foreign correspondents based here in Tokyo is
testy.
already it's in the dumpster. Let's be honest. They have a very poor relationship. The government does not send any of its ministers to the Foreign Correspondents Club anymore, based on the reception of one of them 2 years ago.
Slap in the face there.
And they have sent no one. And that is ahistorical. The Foreign Correspondents Club is where there has been interaction between the foreign press and also the politicians of Japan. And, for example, Governor Masazoe of Tokyo has
had a great presentation there, 2 weeks ago?
Has a regular, he tries to go there every 3 months or so in order to keep his standing with the press and his image internationally up to date. Instead, the Abe administration has shut down that relationship. And now, in addition to that shutdown, we now have Yamamoto Ichita on Twitter or via Facebook saying to some, folks who are pretty proud and pretty of their intelligence and pretty proud of their analytical skills, no, you're wrong. No, you're portraying Japan in the wrong way. What you're saying is unfair. What you're saying is premature. He, in fact, criticized the Wall Street Journal, a well-known radical anti-Japanese rag, of course, for it's saying that Japan's Abenomics has reached an impasse. He said, no, impasse is not the right word. It's too soon.
It's too soon. We need to give it a little bit more
time.
Right.
Chasing after correspondence in this way is really going way down the toll. It's really counterproductive. It only is going to make things worse. But, of course, it plays well with the base in Japan, and especially the part of the base of the LDP that has argued that Japan's problem internationally is the way it's seen. The Chinese tell lies about us, the Chinese government tells lies, the South Korean government tells lies about us, and the foreign correspondents tell lies about us. That's why Japan is where it is. That there might be reasons other than the personalities of the correspondents gets lost.
Well, there are a lot of beautiful and wonderful things about this country, and we can talk a lot about those, but also there are things that kind of irritate and grate upon one's sense of the reality or justice or what you might think a normal democratic country should be doing.
And who would think that that would be the responsibility of journalists covering news?
Exactly. Well, this whole thing throws, I mean, we've talked about it before, it just throws a wet blanket. It really pushes down, it forces public debate to go underground.
Well, I'm not sure. I think it's actually having the opposite effect in that it makes the foreign correspondents even more feisty. And some of them don't need to be encouraged by this kind of thing. But more importantly, it perpetuates this concept within Japan that Japan is a victim of international oppression, which is something you had hoped that Abe and his extremely confident message about Japan finally threw off the shackles of that. Because we've been hearing that for a long, long time, that the world is, that this set of people is anti-Japanese, these set of people are anti-Japanese. And of course, we do have anti-Japanese people, like Mr. Donald Trump in the United States, who doesn't need Yamamoto Ichita to be saying, you know, you don't need to go after the journalists in Japan when you have someone of that caliber mouthing off. Go after him. You know, don't go after the little fish, go after the big fish. But that's not what we're going to be seeing from this.
Japan was recently highlighted as a country that should be more democratic than its policies show it to be.
Well, in terms of the international rankings of freedom of the press, yes, we see that Japan's rankings have gone down internationally.
So in context with that, former Minister Yamamoto calling people or writing on their Twitter feeds or actually espousing on maybe CafeSta about his views about what the foreign journalists are writing about Japan as being wrong and not based on facts is
looks like intimidation.
It does look like, it feels like intimidation.
It feels like intimidation because he does have the in with the LDP and with the Prime Minister. The correct response, of course, is Yamamoto Sensei, thank you for the interest. I think you're wrong. Let's call it 50-50. We'll just stop here.
Well, I think it's maybe just the attitude or maybe the twist of it, because he has a good program. It comes up on the tube and the content there is very good.
The talk show aspect is great. But this new critique thing that he's doing, it's really going after butterflies with a sledgehammer.
Going after butterflies with sledgehammers. We too, like Yamamoto Ichita, are trying to enrich the dialogue. We watch his program. We hope he's watching ours too. Please stay tuned.